the music that we made, the elevator music.
No elevator music for them until...
I thought we hit the number of subscribers that we needed to get the elevator music.
No, they didn't earn it.
Oh.
Don't lie to them. Don't gaslight them. If you gaslight them and give them free stuff, they'll never want to come back.
Oh.
You promise them no AI, no politics.
There is no AI here. I'm just saying.
Well,
we worked all that hard to make all that elevator music.
It's there.
You're not going to play it for them?
It's there. They didn't earn it.
All right.
What is this?
So what's it going to take to earn the
Are
elevator
you
music?
just trying to give trophies to everybody?
Oh, now you're going to hit me like that.
I have to ask for our viewers.
Fine, stop. Anyway, I need to make an apology.
Go.
In the last episode, I thought it was Carl Weathers that played Lando Calrissian. I was corrected by a listener. It was Billy D. Williams.
Good.
I was wrong.
All right.
There's my apology. You got it.
It was news to me.
I just re-listened to the episode on the way out, and you seemed rather shocked by it.
Oh, I just thought I missed it. So I miss a lot of those.
No.
And that's okay.
No.
You know, it's
you
like a 40-year gap,
up.
you know?
Oh, my God.
So the story, well, I'm saying, like, when you see an actor when he's 20 and then 40 years later you see him as, like, you don't know.
Right.
You know, he changed.
Yeah.
Right? It's getting creepy, though.
Is it?
For me. It's finally happening. Or I see an actor now and I'm like, oh, buddy, what happened? You had the green mask and the little dog in the yellow suit. You look good.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the new kids.
Those two. No, I don't know anything about the new kids.
Stop it.
I don't watch new actors.
Bro, you grew up on New Kids on the Block.
Oh, those new kids.
And KOTB? Yeah.
No, I did
Why
not.
are you, bro?
I grew up on Hanson.
Okay.
Don't forget.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, I was walking into like 3rd or 4th grade summer school, and Hanson was the most famous band you've ever seen in your life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like...
You were in summer school in 3rd grade?
Yeah. 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever.
What did you fuck up in 3rd grade so bad that you had to go to summer school?
I don't know. I got in a lot of trouble.
Drawing?
Anyways, drawing. Right.
You got to go to summer school because
you're drawing. The paste 50 times.
Your drawing sucks.
Pretty much.
So, the first thing I wanted to bring to your attention, because I think the world has lost its mind.
Yep.
Currently, Amazon is selling a Christian Ouija board so that you can communicate directly with Jesus himself.
There's so many things that I'm distracted by right now that's mixing emotions. Like, there's some stress in real life that now I'm like, is my real life real? If Amazon gets to do this.
I can't. How is this possible? I mean, you can listeners go on Amazon, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, they're selling a Christian Ouija board so you can communicate directly with Jesus. Do you think the average person should have a telephone to talk to Jesus?
They do. It's called the Bible.
It's called prayer, right?
And, yeah,
no, but like,
and people are right.
It's like a hotline, right?
Oh, you think he's going to respond
phone?
now? He's going to give you a real yes or no,
or maybe an answer. I mean,
that's what everybody wants, right?
You pick up the phone. Hey, Jesus,
are we allowed to talk religion in this podcast? I don't even know. but isn't that the point? Like, Ouija board, rosary, same thing, I guess, in their minds. I'm saying that's what this sounds like they're trying to do.
There's so much wrong with all of this. I'm just saying. I think that this is a trick. Somebody's playing a trick, and they're trying to sucker in a bunch of people. And they're making a fortune on it.
I mean, 50%
this is
of those...
like if you want to go to hell with gasoline drawers on, this is a way to do it.
50% of those people are going to be buying that for the memes.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't see that being, because think about it. Even if you found a dude who really wanted to connect to God, he has to believe that the Ouija board's going to work, which in that circle seems to be pretty slim, I would think. I mean,
doesn't it go against all the teachings? Wouldn't
I have
that be
no
considered
idea,
demonic?
Bro. I was just going to say I think I've met more people that would just straight laugh at you if you said, my Ouija board calls the God.
Only.
Right.
Nobody else.
Right.
It's a hotline.
This is grounds for me, in my mind, this is grounds for, like, a weird summer. Maybe
weird summer.
maybe specifically to a certain hair tone for ladies and a talking dog, but instead it's a Ouija board, if you catch my drift. That's what this sounds like this is going.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now this
Like
is
if you base your entire world off like the
it's all kinds of
Shake
wrong.
8, you know?
The shake weight.
The Shake 8. I do base my life off the Shake weight. That's why I look the way I do. But I'm saying no, the little ball. If you were walking around
the number 8.
Right.
Shake it up.
You're like walking around, you're like, should I take this guy's life, my lord? And then you say, not today,
Wow.
Junior.
Wow.
Oh, I guess he lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, there are people around doing that
Yeah. I would hope not.
with things less than an 8 ball.
Right.
And again, I go back to, old dog, son of Sam boy, and that was a dog. You can't even shake that mofo and he answers.
Well, and you know what? You just reminded me of one of my business ideas.
Uh-oh.
But I'm not going to give it
We're
away.
in big trouble
I'm not
today.
going to give it away.
The episode's not deep enough for that. Like, we're not. How can you even. Speaking of the episode not being intellectually deep enough, shout out to Butters.
Oh, okay.
She wrote us,
Oh, good.
and it said, although she very much enjoyed our guest, it was not the Tommy Skelly.
I know. I tried to get Tommy Skelly out here today.
Right. So now we know that old Johnny did not rate to Tommy Skelly level.
Oh.
He's going to have to try harder.
Well, he said he'll be more than happy to come back.
Well, good.
Yeah.
He might be able to, if he comes back enough, he'll just beat Tommy Skelly in numbers. And then Butters, eventually, it'll be like that thing where the captive, you fall in love with your captor because you don't have a choice.
Oh, Stockholm Syndrome.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll just push that on them all, our guests, and Johnny will just integrate forever. And before you know it, they won't even ask about Tyler or Joe. It'll just be Johnny.
Johnny.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey, Johnny.
Hey, Johnny, someone stole your bike.
So you wanted to talk about a movie that we just both watched.
Yep.
It's in a-
yep.
it-
You had
it
me
came out
watch
like a
it.
year or two
I
ago.
was avoiding that movie. I thought it was about something else,
Okay.
and it was not.
All right.
It is a little bit about what I thought it was, but not 110%.
All right. So let's talk about the movie. What's the movie?
The movie is Ready Player One.
Ready Player One,
Yeah.
which is
What
based
a
on a
movie.
book.
Okay. Did you read the book?
I did.
Okay, good. Then now we can get a side-by-side comparison.
Pretty close.
They're good?
Yeah.
So Batman was in the book?
Oh,
Like Laura Croft was in the book? Like,
yeah.
how does it describe all the characters you're seeing?
I mean, maybe not in so much detail,
Oh, okay.
you know, but it's just the thought that you could be anything or anyone you wanted to.
Right.
Right.
And we've talked about this before. 1,000%. This concept has been covered, but I think
So let's talk about
So-
the concept in the movie.
so. But let's bring up to a relative point though, because we're not just talking about a 3-year-old effing movie either. The relative point to this movie for us was that they recently dropped Apple Vision Pro.
Right. And that's
That's
why I
why
thought we
we-
should watch
right.
this.
Right. Just so you guys know, we're not just reviewing old movies, which we do. And if we did, you'd have to listen anyways. So let's move on. Dude, what did you think of the movie?
The movie,
Not-
first of all, I liked the book a lot. And that's why
Okay.
I was intrigued to see the movie.
Okay.
Because I always want to know how good is the movie going to be compared to the book, right?
Okay.
Generally speaking, they're never remotely close,
Right.
right? Just like the original Dune movie doesn't compare to the books, but the new Dune movie is pretty on par, right?
I have never seen any of those.
Okay. They are, I'm a big Dune fan, so
Right.
I'm a nerd that way. Anyway, Ready Player One is a book. It's about essentially like the metaverse, right?
Right.
It's about putting on VR goggles, going into the metaverse, and living within the metaverse.
So, we really can turn this into a whole episode because
And they don't call it the metaverse; they call it the Oasis,
so
which is a far more fitting name, right?
Yeah, the Oasis. Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
what
I
is an
mean-
oasis, right? It's this beautiful place in the middle of a desert.
Right. Where you're coming, it's more attractive.
It's far more
It's
attractive,
far more attractive than The Sims name
right?
or anything else. So,
And because Apple just dropped these goggles where you can live,
which you're now seeing
which you're
already.
Yeah, people walking around.
Dudes are driving with them.
Right,
Bro, you know those guys are watching like fucking TV while they're driving.
right.
So how do that
Which should be illegal.
these questions, this is just such a hot topic. I think this topic's going to go on forever.
And what nobody's talking about is, the amount of radiation that you're exposing to your eyes.
Yeah, I'm not. Remember the cell phone thing?
Oh, yeah.
You'll get cancer if you don't use a Bluetooth. Now they're like, you'll get cancer if you use the Bluetooth. And I'm like,
listen, there's a lot of evidence that is proving this theory.
right. You know what's
It's like when you're on board a Navy vessel, right? They got these big radio towers, and they got yellow circles painted on the ground around the radio towers that say, don't come within this circle because of the radiation being emitted by these radio towers.
Oh.
Guess what? That radiation isn't limited to those yellow circles. Right.
Right.
It just diminishes the further away you get.
Well, again, we're watching something that people made jokes about 20 years ago.
Right.
That's effing wild.
Right. So people walking around with these goggles, they're reading their email.
Right.
They're using their hands to actuate the buttons in their VR goggles.
So I think
And this movie ties into that.
we've talked about all of this and we make jokes about it because, it's such a real thing that's happening. But what's really funny is that when we met, you knew that I'd already left that community of people and that inside, it's a creepy world. I think it's weird. I think that whole thing exists. I think that it's happening right now. I think that the Ready Player One movie was wild as heck because did you see how it was set up? People's lives revolved around the goggles.
Yep.
Everything
revolved around
They
goggles.
didn't care that they were in a box. They didn't care that they were in a room that was no bigger than a closet.
As long as they could wear the goggles and be in the Oasis.
That was scary
The opiate.
to me.
I mean, to quote a communist phrase, the opiate of the masses, right?
Right.
It's like a drug.
That scares me. And so again, before we made Bays Boys podcast and kind of actually where Bays Boys podcast came from was me and Joe Skelly looking for work. And I happened to, before I met Joe Skelly, look for work in those places, in those underground worlds of the VR thing. And dude, I'll tell you right now, it exists. Like I've met people that don't come out of the box. I've met dudes that live in there 24/7. I know guys
there are
that
people
right
that
now
live in these fantasy worlds now without the VR.
That's what I'm talking about.
Without the VR.
I worked with those people. It's effing scary.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about they belong to these organizations that, that they portray to be a character. It's like LARPers, live action role players, right?
Uh-oh. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to them, it's a fantasy world, but the problem is for some of those people, it stops being, this is what I'm playing, and then they become that individual.
This takes us to a deeper question, though, because now we're getting into treading water and the hotness of the great topics of today in the sense of identity and people waking up and deciding that they want to be this. Now, here's the weird question about it. We're getting way off topic, but it's okay because we got to address all this as we delve into player one. Here's the weird thing about it. Society is exactly that, society, right? What if they made the Oasis because they want a society where people can be more honest? Like, for instance, the character in the Oasis, the super big guy,
Right.
with the stomach that came up, and he was talking, and he's like, "Yeah, so and so's my best friend." Homie, the minute I saw that character, I looked around and I was like, "That's a girl. That's a girl." Because
she's
the
like,
way
Don't fall in love with this person. It might be some fat dude in
Right.
somebody's basement in
Right.
Detroit.
And it wasn't just about that. It was the fact that they had this character where the voice was kind of almost neutral and muddy.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like he just didn't seem very whatever. And then of course the girl ran up later and spoiler alert, you're going to get spoilers. So just keep listening. It's a 5-year-old movie. You'll get over it. But it was uncomfortable, man. It was uncomfortable. And in my opinion, having talked to 10,000 of these types of people, there are some people that are really good at faking it and they want to be in this world so bad that they're going to fake it so hard. And that's cool. That's super cool. And then there's people like that girl and that character. It's like, you can tell because they're being themselves. They're not faking it.
Right.
They just are.
Well,
but there was an awkwardness of that character because I was like, look, either that was the girl or that was going to be the 11-year-old.
right.
And
right,
it
right.
turned out the other dude who didn't talk at all, who was amazing at playing, was the 11-year-old. And you'll find that in the gaming communities that you have the same issues. There'll be kids who play and are as good and as smart intellectually to keep up with adults in the games, and they will lie and not talk so that way you'll accept them as an adult.
I believe that.
And that's where it brings back to this girl who had this super big giant character. You know, she's running around smashing people, she's running around fighting. And you could tell, man, she was great at her character. She made her body came up when the dude was trying to stab her.
right.
Right? And she didn't move. She just came straight up, let that dude pass through, and then backed off.
Right.
And you're just like, wow, you're a good video gamer player.
Right.
What's crazy to me is this. When I found so first of all, the metaverse world is crazy. The word is crazy because right now in real life, everybody's throwing that term around, but we don't have a metaverse.
Not yet.
The metaverse is the internet. There are other small quote unquote universes that exist out there that have been open world, open world sandbox in the style of where they've let people do this and they've let people produce this. The one that we're talking about and the one that I saw the most of was Second Life.
Is that space video game?
No, Second Life. Second Life is scary as heck because Second Life is exactly what the metaverse is. It's an open sim platform sandbox style game that you can even come in and code on and make money on. And it's crazy as heck to me because when I found it, Joe Skelly, I thought people were lying to me. They were like, yeah, dude, you can go in here and make thousands of dollars. And I was like, bro, nobody's made money in a video games. You know, like DreamWorks has the cornerstone on this, or this company. They don't. And you're seeing billions of these places now. There were tons of companies that are happening right now. I've seen the commercials. They're like, hey, man, we're selling you this tank for the metaverse, and it's the greatest metaverse thing in the world. And it's like, I don't know as a person if you're selling this game piece, like you're telling me, hey, man, buy this game piece, and in the future, you will be able to use it in whatever we create in the metaverse. That's going to be the part that matters. But the thing is that it's already happened. The keys are here. So they've done the open source. They've done a metaverse. They've done different lives. There are already people hot linked into this. And now you can't hide it. You used to be able to hide it. You could go to work all day, Joe Skelly, and you could hang out with somebody, and you would never know that they go home and turn on 4 computers and then they do all this stuff, right?
Right.
Honestly, how are you going to hide it with the goggles?
You can't.
Right. And this stuff is now famous. 20 years ago, I got laughed at for meeting girls on MySpace because you still had an area code search and people could find you. And that stupid jacket we've talked about, people would write me, I saw your jacket at Knott's Berry Farm. I saw your jacket at Disneyland. And I'd be like, yo, what? But now that's not an uncommon thing.
Nope.
You have 10,000 people like right now. They're, hey, you want to do an interview for blah, blah? Oh, dude, I would love to do your interview. I fucking watch you on YouTube. You have 10,000 hits.
Right.
And it's on this one video for shooting chocolate bars, you know?
Right.
And you're like, what? Like everywhere you go, this is a thing now. So these people now they're catching up with the tech.
Well, the interesting thing about the movie was there was a corporation within the Oasis
Oh, yeah.
that was vying to take control and power of the Oasis and monetize it and then restrict people, right? Oh, you owe us money. So
1,000% true.
Guess what? You owe us money, so now you have to work for the corporation.
1,000% true. You've already seen people too. Number one being what they call doxed on the internet, right? Like like it is a technique. I don't like you on the internet. Shout out to Sub2 and all those guys that write us and tell us to fucking put our guns in our mouths. Listen, you already see this. The minute you connect and then they don't like what you're doing, somebody's going to come. And if they have money, forget about it. Forget about it. That dude sent those rockets in and wiped that thing. Oh, I had to give you this. I had to offer it to you. I just wanted to check. Kaplowy.
Right.
You're done. What amazes me the most is that people watch TV and they really, really believe that TV is all fake. because they don't see it. And it's like, homie, the
Well, when
first
you're not
man.
when you're not part of it, the
Something,
experience, yeah,
right.
You don't know,
Right.
You don't know if you don't
This
know.
is what's scary too, is when you have so many experiences, you have a long list of shit that's happened, and then you meet somebody who's so dim-witted they've never seen. You know,
Maybe I would.
they give
Dimwit is a powerful word. Ignorant.
I,
Ignorance is different than being dim-witted.
but you can meet somebody who's ignorant, and he will not open his mouth when you speak to him about something he doesn't know about. When you meet dim-witted idiots, they want to talk to you about how salty the beach is, and they've never been to the beach.
Oh, that's a fair statement.
That's weird. To me, that's weird. And again, we're way off topic, but going back to the movie, these corporations that control it, bro. The company,
But even outside,
So-
even outside of the movie, in the real world today,
yeah.
we see corporations vying for power.
Oh,
right. They used to talk about in Japan that the samurai wars had disappeared, but they really haven't, right? The shogunate wars haven't disappeared. It just turned into corporate warfare, right? So you have clans of corporations that own smaller shell corporations, and they are constantly waging war against each other, right?
Yeah.
Hostile takeovers and this and that.
People just wanna fight.
Warfare's just changed,
Yep.
right? So, I mean, we're seeing that today. So would it be surprising that in a movie, which is very I think the scariest thing about the movie is it's a prediction. It's a prediction of the future. Yeah, they made it campy and they made it fun and they made it an adventure. But the fact is,
Oh, it's happened.
it's happening.
It's happened.
Yeah, it's happened.
Yeah, we're here.
Right.
So I was going to bring up an example. You watch UFC?
Yes.
Oh, I don't. But
Occasionally I will.
I like watching the interviews sometimes.
Right.
About whatever. But I saw an interview with Dana White, and he said that. He said, and I don't really care for that guy that much. He's kind of weird to me, but I don't know much about him. Some of the stuff I see is weird, but he came on an interview.
He's kind of a nutter.
Is he? I don't, yeah, we won't get into
But,
that.
here's what I will say about this.
Okay.
They asked him about one of his fighters talks crazy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, aren't you going to rein him in? Aren't you going to leash him in? And he got pissed. He said, leash him in. He goes, it's not my business to tell anybody how they think or what they speak. Putting a leash on somebody?
Right.
I'm not going to leash anybody. First Amendment. I'm all about freedom of speech.
Right.
Blah,
And
blah,
that's
blah.
what I was going to say. So a corp wrote him and told him to take a post down for his political views, and he told them to F off. But that's an example.
Right.
There's your corp. But don't you think everybody does that? People who sign up with a team, once you vouch for that team, you're in that team. But they had, oh, by the way, that movie had a whole team of people that were locked in a cubicle.
Yes.
That.
But those are the people that owed the corporation money.
Right.
Right? They owed that corporation money, so they could lock them in cubicles and make them play in the Oasis to earn money in the Oasis.
Which is also wild because you could just print that if you own the corp.
Right.
I mean, that's literally America 101.
Right. So, I mean, overall, what did you think of the movie?
Well, again, because of my history, I don't like that. I don't think it's cool at all. I think it's weird. I think it's creepy. I've seen people get sucked into that shit who can't come out of it. I've seen desperate people. Dude, I know people that sit on there all day that don't even have a house. And they sit in, what are they called?
Internet
halfway,
cafes?
No, halfway houses, bro. Like that's what it's called, right?
Right,
Like a
right.
communal house full of people, adults, who can't function, who are synced up to this.
Here's something for you. You've seen the movie World War Z, right?
Yes.
Have you ever read the books?
No.
All right.
I
So
didn't even know there was a book.
the book World War Z essentially is after the zombie war,
Okay.
there are survivors,
Okay.
right? And the United Nations sends people to interview the survivors about their experience.
Okay.
That's what the book's about, right?
That's what World War Z is about?
Yeah,
the
that's
books?
the
Okay.
book. The book is
Totally different than the movie.
not totally, but
The movie seems like it was this is what happened movie. That's all it was.
right.
Like you didn't
So the
show
books
us
are the war from different people's perspectives.
anything. Okay.
And one of the interviewees was a Japanese kid who was locked in his room, locked into video games, and didn't even know
Oh,
that it had taken place
I'm terrified of that.
until he came out of his room
Nope.
and it was just bedlam,
Yep.
right?
I
Had no idea that the zombie war had even begun.
so
But there are people like that
there are 110%. There are, but so what's
who there are people who want to live the fantasy and don't want to live in reality because they're disappointed with their own reality.
This is the problem with that too, and this brings it up. So the Avatar thing is cool. What's interesting about it to me is, again, you can tell, people want to be something. They're not wrong, right? Like that little girl, she's got the big super bruiser body.
Right.
I get it. All of us want to be Batman at one point in our lives. All of us want to be the Hulk at one point in our lives. In the metaverse, we get to go play that. I think that there is 100% a bit of that's okay, and it should exist there. But the problem is that it's corporately stamped already. And now what you really see in this year, we don't get political, but this past, the last 4 years of my life, or 5 years, have really been the biggest bridge that I've seen between commerce, government, and religion all in like one shot.
And intellectual property. We'll throw that in there too.
So intellectual
you just
property,
sent me that video where if you make an audiobook of your own creation, your own story, we won't mention the company.
No, you should.
And we can't.
Why? Because we're on their team?
Yes.
No.
All right, fine.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So if you post an audio, you write a book and
on
you make
Spotify,
and you make it into an audiobook, you are giving them the permission to your intellectual property from that day forward.
Yes.
They could create future books using your characters. They can use your world. They
Yes.
can do whatever they want to with your book
Yes.
and monetize it.
So I think, number one, since we started the podcast and we joked about this, but I told you since day one that we would never make a penny off of this podcast like this.
Oh, without a doubt.
And we honestly haven't.
No,
We've made no money from having a podcast.
none. It's not like YouTube. And it's not
No.
like YouTube in
and
its big
YouTube
infancy.
is dead now too.
Right. It's
YouTube, you're
it's
not
like
going to make
YouTube
it.
used to be in its infancy.
Right. We've never made a fucking penny off of this podcast. The only time we've made money is from our real supporters. Shout out to those guys. Shout out to the guys who bought stickers, who bought t-shirts, who supported us since day one. Again, nobody other
You
than
help us
that.
keep the podcast alive, right? You pay
And
for
we
the
don't-
hosting, you
right.
pay for the website, you pay for
Right.
all
And
of this,
that-
which helps us continue.
Right, 110%. And me and Joe Skelly, since day one, have put in our own
Countless money.
skin off of us. It's always been, number one. That part is what scares me, and the informational part. So I'll tell you this right now. This really creeped me out when I found the Second Life world. So I went in there to see, and I genuinely went in there, Joe Skelly, because the people who invited me there, they invited me this because they met me the same way we did. I was running servers for other people who were rich from across the country, and they met me and they were like, "Hey man, we think you could come here and make money." And I was like, "That's kind of weird. I've never heard of this or seen any of this, right?" But they were able to keep it separate. So they were able to go in and make that money, but they didn't consume any of that.
Right.
And that was very different. And the
Because-
biggest kick
because
for
those
it,
people were able to make that division.
right. And this was what was scary, though. The thought that I was thinking about, the people that we were the way that they ran their gear. If you saw a shoe, like if Nike dropped Air Force 2000 today, right? Tomorrow in the meta universe, the Nike Air Force 2000 would be there.
Oh, without a doubt.
And it was the scariest thing.
Without a
It
doubt.
was the scariest thing because I spent enough time in there that my social media feeds, and this is why I hate social media and I don't like using it at all, but it was happening so much that the fake social media feeds that I would run for people for business were actually telling me things before I was hearing them about it in real life from anybody. And that's when I got creeped out because I was like, guys, this is a video game.
Right.
Why am I reading news in here? Why are there talks about lawsuits? There are talks about this, there are talks about that. Oh, and we could talk about the cease and desist that my friends got. Tons of my friends got all kinds of stuff because they made art based off of something over here they saw. And then that company, like, I'm not going to name names, but basically it was like Nike and Adidas, those types of companies. They wrote us as artists. We're kids making shit in our bedrooms on a computer tablet. And those guys would reach out and be like, "Yo, you better stop or I'm going to send a pack of lawyers to your house."
Right.
I have 1000% seen everything in Ready Player One. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good on all of that. And I'm not getting weird. I've never seen anybody kill anybody off the internet. Nothing weird like that. But you want to go read those reports, you can go read them. Those exist in the world.
Right.
We don't need to talk about those.
I enjoyed, yes, there's a lot of creepy factors about this movie in the great overlying things of it, but
Yeah.
things I enjoyed about the movie.
Yeah.
The pop culture within the movie.
So
was
seeing
amazing.
Batman with Hulk and
Not
Lara
even that, but
Croft
like,
and this type of
they're
thing,
talking
or
about all the music that I grew up with, right? And
Yeah.
all the TV shows and all the characters and all the costumes that people wore and all my favorite movies. And, all of that was there. I mean, think about it. In the race, he was driving what?
what?
He was driving the DeLorean.
Oh yeah. When you saw all these cars,
Right.
yeah.
And she
So
was
again,
she
yeah.
was driving the Akira bike.
It was a lot. It was a lot. Like, I have to go watch the movie again.
Right.
I actually finished it, and what you're saying is that's what's so funny about it is you're like mentioning it, and I feel that movie was so much stuff I can't even remember it, bro. Like, you just asked right now, what car was he driving? Oh yeah, he did have the DeLorean. That was gangster.
It
Like,
was gangster.
You saw all kinds of weird stuff. Halo guys. I love the Iron Giant fight.
Right.
That dude had the Iron Giant. But again, then you brought it into the real life where the dude's like, hey, do you want to join us? No? All right, I'm going to whack your aunt.
Right.
You're like, oh, bro, you took it too far. You're taking it too far.
Right.
And
But I mean, you want to get crazy? This goes back to the dystopian thing. Like do you see the original Fahrenheit 451?
no. What do you
Or
mean?
The movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's had a wall in their house, right? It was broadcasting images and TV all day long, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's all about we're delivering you specific. I mean, this is the direct. This has been. I mean, come
It's
on.
been happening.
Come
They
on.
talked about it when TV first came out.
1984, Fahrenheit 451, Alex Huxley's, God, I can't think of it, Brave New World, all of this stuff.
Right.
This dystopian thing is happening, right? Philip K. Dick wrote all of the sci-fi novels in the 40s, 50s, and 60s that are all becoming reality, right?
Do you think, let me ask you a weird question. Let's sidestep our reality and take us into a box of our own. Do you think that we're here as spectators? Do you think that's what we are now? Like the announcers of it? I feel like we are.
As a podcast or as people?
Both. That's a good question. So you did understand my question. I knew you would. Both. As a podcast, since day one, you have been coming in here and effing up my life. So let's just throw that out there right now.
Right.
If
Like,
ever,
prime example, I walked in here today and what did I bring into the house?
Dude, he brought this shout out to Pop Tart. Give me the camera.
Yeah.
He brought
It's a
his
Kodak
Easy
Z7
Share Z740.
Yep.
And then he made me put the images online and look at them on the big screen.
Yep.
Every picture was like a lottery of death. I was like, homie, no. Because he took these pictures at the honey farm and some of our comrades were there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, if you ruin this location for me, I'm going to be sad. And then he started taking pictures of old fat Tyler eating his breakfast. And I'm like, homie, why are you trying to ruin our lives? I'm telling you right now, if we have to record from a car, it's going to be his fault.
Just go with what the Navy SEAL said.
Yes, if it's not there, it didn't happen.
Right. If you get bumped in the ocean
I was
at night,
trying that,
didn't
but it's
happen.
not happening anymore. And everything is going bump in the night. That shit's not funny. Trying to make the Arthurs mad.
right.
Oh, I'm going to be sick now.
And this is a real quick shout out to Pop Tart. You should look up a company called Iroquois Technologies. They've come up with a new software and filters that overlays regular film and video, and it can pick up neutrinos that the human eye can't see, and it pulls out images from the background that you might find interesting.
Listen, you guys think this is a joke. Part of this show is a joke, but the other parts about him making me awkward and these ghosts is not. This shit ain't funny anymore. And this motherfucker wonders why we can't sleep ever. Okay.
Hey, I might be seeing the
Oh, Jesus.
the grass man or the skunk ape
Oh, my
this next week.
goodness. No.
when
All
I
right.
go on the road. If
Nope.
I'm going to take pictures, I'll take the ghost camera and take pictures of the swamp and see if I can catch the skunk ape and or
Are we going to become Ghostbusters?
no.
We can't do that.
No,
I don't want to bust anybody.
I'm not trying to bust anything.
No.
Right?
So what do they call this? Ghost hunters? Well,
That's a TV show.
we don't actually hunt. Wait, is it a hunt if you're looking for them?
No,
Like,
That's
how about
what
ghost?
they
How
imply
about
on the
ghost
TV show.
photographers? Could we be ghost photographers?
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I like that title.
Yeah.
Hunting is so too much.
Yeah, it's over the top.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We're not wolves in sheep clothing or sheep in baba clothing or anything weird like that.
Right.
Just calm down, Tim Kennedy.
All right.
So we're gonna be yeah, dude, you got me all messed up.
So
with
we
those
might post
pictures
some
now.
of these pictures.
Oh no, we are.
on the social media.
If
streams.
the Arthurs let us, we'll post them.
Right.
So look out for those Pop-Tarts. You'll enjoy those. Jesus.
So-
Okay.
Just to recap, Ready Player One. Did you like it or not?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, after
That was
you-
the
after you-
equivalent of a murder film to me. I was like, this is fucking horrible. Why are they making jokes about this? This is happening.
Right. Rewatch. All right.
This is another problem too. This is the other problem too. Before anybody goes like, Tyler, you're just a high-strung piece of shit asshole who doesn't like tech. Bro, who is the tech guy in the group? Me.
Right.
I am literally the micro. I am the kid who grew up when we weren't outside doing what we were supposed to be doing. I'm inside on the computer
Your data
reading.
from the Goonies.
Oh, I hate it so much. I hate it. It's not fair. We're 10 years too late for OnlyFans. Okay? And, we should have had that. We knew about Hot or Not. We knew about fucking Tinder. We're always behind. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. There are so many people out right now shaking their heads because they knew too. They just didn't know how to code it. And
Or
now,
capitalize on it.
right. And now we're sitting here.
You're mad that your 16-year-old or 18-year-old cousin's capitalizing on it.
Bro, no, I'm mad because what I thought were only the positives and all the negatives that people told me that I believed would never happen is happening.
There you go.
That's what scares me.
There you go.
They're like, bro, you can't do this because this will happen. And I'm like, no, that won't happen. And then it happened 10 times over. And I was like, wait a minute. Maybe swiping left on Tinder isn't safe. The world adjusted, though. The world really adjusted, though, man. I speak to people about this all the time. I have numerous friends, just like you do, just like our listeners. Here's the thing. In 2001, if you threw a rock and hit somebody who was dating somebody off the internet, you were fucking making fun of them.
Yep.
You fucking nerd with your Canadian girlfriend. Shut the fuck up. You ain't got no girl.
But now
But
you can't
now-
date somebody without meeting them on the internet
Ooh,
because if you
that's-
try to meet them at a bar in person in real life, you're a fucking creeper.
Let me tell you something. First of all, that is not true. That's the general, how do you say the word? Consensus?
Consensus.
Yes, that is the general
There are
consensus.
some people who can subvert that.
Yeah, there's some people that don't have problems talking to the opposite sex.
Right.
We're not wearing dresses.
No.
Yeah. But yes, I have heard this whole my big one is
I know people younger than us
My big
that
one-
have attempted to talk to people out in the IRL
Yeah,
in real
IRL,
life,
Yep.
and they literally that's what they're told.
Yes.
They get shut down.
Yes, but this is the same thing that we talked about before too with this other subject that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's that's right. It is internet dating. Dude, I love it. Internet I used to tell people back in the day when they'd ask me like, "Hey, is that safe?" It's like, it's kind of safe. It's safe. It's as safe as you allow your brain not to build up something in front of that person. Like, because everybody's like, well, it's not a good idea. What happens when you get in real life? Bro, it's fine. The problem is you got to get them on camera and let them show you the house. Because I tell them, like, you don't live with that person. You don't know if he came home and threw all of his clothes in the background of your thing that you can't see on that camera. And when you got the camera in one spot. But today, bro, you got microscopic cameras. You could give yourself a colonoscopy and let your homie watch on YouTube if you really wanted to. and I'm not trying to be gross. I'm trying to say the tech is there.
Right.
The tech is there to do crazy stuff now. Back in the day, you were like, hey, send me a picture. And then you're like, wait, is that a wiener or a titty? I can't tell. It's pixelated. Now, they're like, oh, I got catfished. I'm like, homie, how? Within the first 3 seconds, bro. Hey, turn on your camera. Oh, okay, good. The minute you start talking about anything else, everything is, how do you say, it's like relative, right? You start telling me you're a fucking, a world Olympic gold swimmer. You better turn on your fucking camera and better be a medal hanging in the background, like a little tiny bit, you know?
Right, right.
Yes, the medal can be fake. We get that. But I'm saying, if the guy tells you he's a professional cleaner for a living and he fucking lives like a hoarder, I don't think it's a good idea. You know, it is happening. It is here. I think it's here. And I go back to the question that I asked earlier. If we're spectators now, what is because we're over the hump? We don't care because we just live in it because we're watching it.
What was the Stallone movie?
Oh, which one?
Where he's in the future.
Yeah.
And him and the woman want to have relations.
Yes.
And they put on the headsets.
Dude, she's so fine. What's her name?
But
yeah, that's Demolition Man. Yeah, that's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Is that? If we get to that point, I don't want to be in this world anymore. I'm just saying.
We are at that point, homie. We are at that point.
There's a lot of weird tech out there.
We got to be careful because we got guests in the studio today, but I'm going to say it this way. If you were comparing this to cars and what we're doing right now, right now in the current tech of that tech you speak on, we are in the manual engine era of our lives. The next step is what? Automatic, baby. And you're already driving the car with the fucking stick, bro. You got the goggles. And did you see the broad who could change her husband's face?
Yeah.
Bro. She was like, oh, Leonardo DiCaprio, homie.
And it overlaid his face on her husband.
Do you know what's going to happen when you build your brain into dopamine, believing that that's your husband, and then you take those goggles off?
Yep.
You really want to live that way?
No, sir.
That's so scary. And my point back to the other, again, we're in manual whatever. People already doing that, brother. There are people that sit online with people for 2, 3, 4 years before they even meet.
Yes. It's a weird, wild world.
Yeah. I've met those people too. But again, coming up now, a difference between 2001. So here's one. The Mega Beast is one of the Mega Beast's best friends. She is a sweetheart. She is what you and I would call a 1920s looking girl, right?
Oh, okay.
Goes to church, never curses, did 100% the unicorn, saved herself for her man.
Okay.
Real deal, right? Here's what's crazy. She met her man on the internet, bro. And I was like, wow. But the difference is she did it with what she went into the metaverse knowing what she wanted. She found a man on a website specific to their religious group. She found a man who matched her lifestyle and her brain and blah. I don't know, dude. I'm just saying stuffs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it worked out. Those two humans.
So it helped cut out all the bullshit and narrow down the search.
It did in a way. And those two humans will never experience certain things that other people experience. They'll never experience cheating.
Right.
They'll never experience this conversation. So how many did you have before me? I'm just a long, person on a list. Like, they got rid of all of these things.
Okay.
Using what? Computer algorithms, data, and application sheets.
You know what I find is weird?
This?
Well, but for people like, I have a lot of respect for people who do that.
Yeah.
My thing is this.
Yeah.
You've never experienced the physical side of those relationships
right.
before.
So how does it work?
Well, no. And you meet this person, you're in love, and you have it. And it turns out to be absolutely terrible.
It's not possible. It will not work. Do you know why?
Why?
Because as everything that we know between the two of us and we study, think about this. What is one of the biggest, dorkiest things that we've made fun of for the last whatever in our lifetime, right? It's you get a trophy for this, you get a trophy for that, right? Now take the human and dopamine drop them without the physical contact and without all that full physiological interaction, blah, blah, blah.
You're saying it doesn't matter then?
No, watch, you'll see. Take all that and you remove a portion of it. Because in conversation, what I get from you in dopamine pings, I'm getting it like a computer, right?
Right.
Right. The minute you sit there and build that like a tantric whatever, and you build that up for however much time, bro, and you know.
It doesn't matter. It'll be amazing. Is that what you're saying?
There it is. Yeah.
Maybe.
That's why those people will link up and have weekends that are out of this world. And yeah, dude, you will meet some people they'll be like, oh, well, it didn't really work out. I promise you right now that those people I hate to say this, and I don't mean to be rude, they didn't have a grasp on reality to begin with.
Oh, wow. That's a powerful statement.
They didn't. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. You cannot spend 10 hours, because these long distance relationships, you know what they do, man. They turn into being on the phone all the time. They turn into 24/7 texting. And now with the real world that we live in, bro, how much easier would it be if your girl's on a camera and you never got to deal with her? And then the one time you deal with her is at a hotel with a firm bed, room service, and nobody's mess? Come on, dog. You almost can't mess this up. You would have to be a cuck to mess this up on either end. Now, again, I'm not saying people can't be disappointed. You could be disappointed, but do you really think that first event, you're going to be in there after a year of not seeing each other and going to business town manually on yourself, and then you finally got that warm, you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't work. Because again, take the idea of attraction to begin with. If you take two people, that person wants that person.
All right.
Boom. They want it. This is not about what you need, because if it was about what you need, you wouldn't be on the phone with some broad.
So listen, you just defeated your own argument about what's so scary about this new world.
Well, that's what I was going with the spectator question, though, because I know where you're going with this. That's the fucking point. The point is that we've already been doing this. I literally have a son from a girl from the internet, right?
Yes.
And we see the repercussions of all these things that can happen. Does it make a difference? Not 100%. What's scary is that they're going to box them. What's scary in Ready Player One is that the community, the opening scene for that community, my man jumps out of a tin box, heads over to another tin box to link up. By the way, did you notice how hard my boy was that he set his fucking rig up away from his own home?
Yes.
Bro. That was the most realist part of the movie. He's like, I'm not even at my house, you fuck. I'm in another rig. I was like, yeah, smart, but they still got your house.
Yep.
You gotta go. And my mans didn't make it, but what did it, bro? So you're telling me that the dude living in the box on the same rig, doing the same thing, not bothered by anybody, hid his own rig in another destination. Gee, I effing wonder why.
Right. And the interesting thing is, where was it supposed to be taking place?
Where?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh yeah, don't even get me started on that. I got to write that on the list. We have so many, we have our list.
Yes.
Me and Joe Skelly are working on a Cleveland movie list. I know that these lists exist already, you guys, okay? We know podcasts exist too, but you don't see us not fucking doing that, right? Okay? But we're going to do it better.
I like it.
The Joe Skelly, Tyler, I don't know book is better.
Way better.
It's not here yet, but I promise it's better. Moving on. That was crazy. They're like, Cincinnati is the fucking fastest growing whatever. I'm like, the hell it is. The hell it is, bro. Listen. We both know a ton of people from Cincinnati, and from what I've heard, that place hasn't gotten better. That's what I'm hearing. I'm not judging. You know, we're not from the greatest place in the world. I'm saying,
yeah.
This is the fastest growing place. Did you demolish everything and put up Section 8, bro? Like, what happened? Why would we be moving to Cincinnati?
Hey, you know what? I on a sidebar, but similar.
Yeah.
I know of a country outside of the United States, right?
Mm-hmm.
Former Eastern Bloc country, right? That has the fastest internet connection on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And it's helping this country grow exponentially.
Which country is this?
Romania.
So it's
and
interesting.
I know it from people from Romania, and I know it from people who have gone to Romania.
So it's interesting that you say that, because you know where the biggest place is that they have T1 that I didn't know about in fiber? Like, okay, guys, by the way, me and Joe Skelly are old. We're not in the tech game, so if we say things that don't make any sense, we really don't care. But you know what the craziest country that I've heard that does the same thing?
What's that?
Korea.
Oh, but Korea's, yeah, but they're first world. I mean,
I don't understand it, though. It makes no sense to me, because, and I'm asking you
it
because
makes sense because of all the tech business there.
From Korea.
Yeah. It makes sense because Seoul.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me because
Seoul, South Korea is like a hub for tech and business and for all of Asia.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because remember we've talked about this previously. What did we talk about? It was the internet connection.
You were talking about the video gamers and the clans in Korea.
That's right. How you have to have an ID
Right.
in Korea to play. Bro. And that blows my mind. But you're saying that tech-wise, it is improving civilization for them to have T1 faster connection.
Absolutely.
But why?
First of all, cost of living is so low, right? So they put in all this high-speed internet literally almost everywhere,
Okay.
except for maybe the countryside.
What does that
right?
do for you, though?
And the cost of living is driving businesses to go there because it's business friendly and they can communicate with the rest of the world lightning fast.
Okay, so we're basing this 100% on communication. I 100% support that. I don't know how the data is there, but I know it's correct because humans lose without communication.
Right.
We've seen that left and right. Business doesn't thrive if you can't call at the right
Businesses are
time.
flocking there
That
because
is
the
so
cost of
to
living
South
is,
Korea.
No, to Romania.
Oh, I thought we were still talking about Korea. I'm like, wow.
To
I didn't know they did
Romania
it.
because
To
the
Romania.
cost of living is so low and the cost of operation of businesses is so low that they can run and be profitable and still communicate with the rest of the world
That's so weird.
like they're standing next to each other.
So I only have one kid that we play with from Romania. He's weird as heck. He's the funniest kid you've ever met because if you ever heard a dude with a Romanian accent who wants to be a thug but really sounds like Dennis the Menace next door,
That's him.
bro. I can't even. He sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger but a thug. Imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger as a thug. Yo, I'll be back, yo. Like that's how he talks. He's the
That's
coolest
funny.
guy in the world. My question though is my comment though is this or my observation is like when I talk to him and I'm like, hey man, what do you got going on over there? What's there right now? He'll be like, nothing. And I'm like, what do you mean nothing? He goes, there's nothing in my country. He's like, I'm trying to leave. One time I tried to mail him something and I had to mail it to another country
Listen,
because he couldn't get mail where he is in Romania.
It's very poor.
Okay.
It's culturally rich.
What's it physically look like terrain-wise, I mean?
There's mountains. There's a lot of country. Okay. Transylvania.
It's not like,
Transylvania is in Romania.
okay,
Okay.
right?
At one point in time, Romania held 80% of the bears and wolves and wild animals for all of Europe.
Oh,
Romania has primeval forests
yeah. I've
that
heard
have been
this stuff we know
around for
about.
1,000 years and haven't been logged.
So,
So when you hear stories like the Brothers Grimm and the vampire stories and all that shit comes from Romania because it's ancient.
right.
The architecture is beautiful. Yeah, there was a lot of shit left over from the Soviet era, right, where it's poor and there's not a lot, but it's coming back. And it has to do with the internet connections.
So that's super interesting.
Like the one guy I know from Romania, he was telling me, he goes, you have ice cream trucks here in Romania. They have beer trucks.
What?
Yeah, they drive around with beer. So like you can go out with a milk jug and fill it up for beer for $5.
Listen, we're not supposed to get political, and we don't, but we are a lifestyle podcast.
Oh God.
So here's my thing, and I'm gonna ask this, and I'm gonna say on topic, not ADD in it today. Much. We know what you just said, right? This is a beautiful country. They've got this, they've got that, they've that. We heard from another interview the other day about a beautiful country too that America's been told that's not so good. And then we're hearing about this infrastructure with the internet thing of what you're saying and how businesses are flocking to Romania, probably flocking in big in Korea, all this other stuff. And like, is this part of the Ready Player One thing to bring your image down of other places?
It could be.
Joe Skelly, I think we need to make a trip
Where do you want to go?
somewhere that's not here.
All right.
We need to take our board, go to the Transylvania Castle, find Dracula, and get an interview.
Wachovia. The region is
Dracula.
called Wachovia.
Wachovia. Well, that sounds like it's in Africa. I'm not going to lie. That sounds like we're going the wrong way. I'd love to go to Africa, but you know what they got in Africa?
Tigers and lions?
No, I don't give a fuck about no tiger and lion. Bot flies.
Oh, bot flies. Okay.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
Did they have any of those in Ready Player One?
No.
See, that's what I'm saying. Already safer. I'm joking. Do not Listen, do not buy those. Are you going to buy those Apple Vision Pros?
No.
I almost bought some the other day.
How much are they? 13, 15,
35
$3,500?
Yeah, 36.
Oh, God.
How much did you just say? You thought they were
$1,800?
You thought they were 18? Bro, I wish. If they were 18, we would buy some to experiment. I literally almost ordered us some just to play with them on the podcast.
No.
And then I was like, well, we're going to get bored really fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and listen, that company's convinced people they have to have the new phone every single year.
Oh.
And by the way,
well,
your
forget,
iPhone takes an infrared picture of your face every 5 seconds.
Don't forget that they also have those updates that allow your phone to stop working when you don't update and buy the new one too. So they didn't just make it, they made it.
Right.
That way.
Do you know why their camera takes a picture of your face every 5 seconds?
Because it loves me, obviously.
No, so it can track your eye movement to see what you're looking at, so it can target you for things.
Perfect. It makes sense. How do you target somebody who has everything?
Oh, there's ways.
What do you think? What ads do you think people get with money? Like, what ads do you think they get?
Super rich ads that we'll never see.
Super rich ads we'll never see. That is funny.
Buy this yacht, buy this jet. Come to this place. By the way, all right, so we'll talk about it on another podcast.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want to get crazy, but let's get crazy. 30-97 seconds. Everything you love, everything you don't want. Do not go into Ready Player One. Do not go to the metaverse. It is dangerous. It will eat your soul.
Read a book.
Yeah, if you're listening to this podcast, you have enough filth going into your mind.
Read a book.
You don't need the internet. 30-97 seconds.
Bays Boys Podcast.